Where is the weirdest place you've ever fallen asleep? I only ask because as I type this, I can hear my roommate snoring from his seat on the toilet. On a tractor while plowing a field. I was doing night shifts during the summer and decided to get some extra hours in during the day, so I was tired when doing my actual shift. I switched on the tractor's GPS and set it to give me a signal 50 meters before the field ended to wake me up to turn around. The fields were about 1200 meters long, so I'd get about 10 minutes of sleep before having to turn around again. During a job interview, he actually had to shake me awake. Weirder yet, I still got the job. When I was a kid, like 5 or 6, there was a tree in the front yard I really liked climbing. There was a branch perfectly shaped for little me to lie down on. Early one morning, I woke up and decided to take my sleeping bag up the tree and went back to sleep. In college, I took a cognitive neuroscience course that involved designed experiments to be carried out in an MRI and how to analyze the brain images afterwards. As part of the course, we all carried out our studies, and I volunteered to be a participant for a few. When I went to get in the MRI, the tech said I couldn't wear my sweatshirt in due to the metal near the aglets. So she got me a blanket to keep warm, and to keep my head propped at the right angle, they gave me a stack of pillows. I definitely unintentionally ducked with someone's data by falling asleep mid-study. On a hedge at the end of my road, Dad wasn't too pleased at driving past his pissed-up son sleeping in a hedge on his way to work. Wiz Khalifa concert, everyone was so high. I fell asleep for a few minutes standing up and the crowd was so thick I didn't even fall over. This post is a narcoleptic's wet dream. 4 slept on the steps of the Opera House in Sydney. In the bathroom of my local pub, 3 hours 3 beers. Under the car. Whilst milking cows on numerous occasions. Kmart changing room. Traveling 35 miles per hour on a quad bike. Those are a few. At the moment my weird place is on the floor in our hallway. I went to a party and slept in the train on the way back home. But my friend constantly was waking me up. I would be mad if he did that. So when the train stopped at the last station he left without me, drunk, and I did not really know him. So this nice cute lady waked me up when the train was empty. I toughed it was my friend, so I yelled something mad and she walked away. 5 seconds later I realized it wasn't my friend and I felt so bad. In the office of a funeral director I was making a sales call to. Years later it dawned on me that he probably thought I would just leave if he made me wait forever. I once fell asleep standing up. During high school I had the weirdest relationship with sleep and ended up spending more time in class asleep than awake. One day after not having slept for a few nights in a row I just passed out during PE. Standing up. We were waiting for instructions. I blinked. And suddenly everyone was out in the field doing stuff and I was alone. Teacher seen me come to shortly after and informs me that class is over in a few minutes and to just go ahead and get changed again. Reportedly I snored. I usually didn't in the classroom. On the deck of a trawler. With a mix of seawater, fish guts, and crude oil lapping against my makeshift bed. Not weird but dangerous. When I was still in high school I used to work at Starbucks and would open at 4 a.m. so I'd have to get up around 3 a.m. to drive there. Well, there were some days where I didn't get to bed on time, so while driving, I'd close my eyes and count to 3 and then open and correct my driving if I had veered of my lane. And repeat. My logic was, no way could I veer off that bad in 3 seconds. Mind you, that early there really isn't anyone on the road. Well, there was one time I counted to 3 and my eyes would just not open until it was almost too late. Nothing bad happened but I pulled over. Called work and said I'd be 5 minutes late. Took a nap on the side of the highway and went to work. TLDR, due to opening shift at Starbucks, I counted myself to sleep while driving. I volunteered at the local firehouse when I was a teen/early 20s. We got a call one night on the interstate which was a 20-minute drive. Sick me decided to close my eyes thinking I would wake up when the sirens stopped. I woke up when the truck pulled back in the station and turned off with everyone laughing at me. On film sets. First time we were sat in a comfy auditorium for hours on end, fake clapping and laughing. One after another someone would doze off, and if an AD noticed, they'd wake us up, unless the person was quiet enough and the others were making enough noise. During a particular slow turnover I dozed off. And during this period of my life I was a bit phlegmy, so I didn't realize my head had rocked back and I was snoring loud. Eventually when I came to, the crew were still doing adjustments. I remember this girl's face as she looked up at me with the most appalled look on her face. I must have been snoring badly. Second time this happened, it was very unexpected. I was playing a refugee in a tent with other extras. The director had to place me further away from the others and turn me away from the camera because of how I looked. I lay there awake but pretending to be unconscious for the first and second take. I then wake after who knows how long to clapping and an AD praising us. And that's a wrap, guys. My friend on set, another extra, came up to me to say that I didn't move an inch even when he tried to tell me jokes. We had just clicked on set and were having a lot of fun that day. I had to ask him how long has it been since we started rolling and find out that it's been a good 3 to 4 hours. Easiest paycheck I have or will make in my life. It was on a train. However, the circumstances were weird. However, I fell asleep while viewing an AskReddit thread about masturbating. When I woke up, the title of the thread was visible and I'm pretty sure the guy next to me saw what I was looking at. I fell asleep while marching to school. I was enlisted in the Air Force, and once you graduate boot camp, you go to your school to learn about your job. Well, I stayed up all night studying for a test. And I was so tired that I fell asleep while marching to the schoolhouse. And I somehow managed to stay in a straight line, keep pace, and stay in step with everyone. At a Van Halen concert in the 90s. Laid down on the grass in the open seating area. Next thing I knew, the concert was over and my friends were waking me up so we could leave. It was super late and I was going down on my ex-girlfriend. I was bobbing my head and eventually just leaned against her thigh, falling asleep. I was an hour early for my appointment in London. And there was a nice park outside the building. It was a beautiful sunny day. And I sat in the long, soft grass, ate my lunch and read my book. I finished my book and I still had 45 minutes or so to wait. I also have chronic fatigue and no sense. So I laid down and slept. Lovely nap. 10/10 would recommend. I slept on the floor of my buddy's room. The weird part though was he was getting action in his bed. And our other friend was getting action in his walk-in closet. So I fell asleep with his shooting earmuffs on. One time as a little kid I fell asleep while playing in my room in the middle of the day. I woke up on my knees with my head resting at a weird angle on the bed. Don't even remember feeling tired, and I didn't usually take naps as a kid. But for whatever reason this particular day I just passed a duck out halfway on the floor.